Hi, hello everyone. So I thought I would do day in the life of a multimillionaire, multi-billionaire in fact, um, while I'm getting ready for the day. So don't get me wrong, it's like noon, but I've been up for a couple hours. I just haven't been out of bed up. So, and then you guys say, I get it too, like, I used to get up at 5 in the morning before I had my own job. As in, I used to get up at 5 in the morning on my own too before I had my own job. But then too, I realized that a lot of businesses and industries were still closed. And also too, I was living in a very rural area at the time. So, I mean, it's great being up at 4 or 5 in the morning if you can make yourself do something. And I'm sure, some of you could be like, well, why don't you exercise? Well, that's coming along too. So don't worry about that. But people could be like, "Oh, Timmy, why do you say you're a multimillionaire, multi-billionaire when you having top ramen for dinner, and you're living in a little apartment and what have you?" Well, first off, I don't need to prove to people about how much I make, and then second, um, it's said that you got to believe that you're who you are or where you want to be before everyone else is going to. So if you're not gonna believe that you're monetarily wealthy or wealthy in your heart, or have good people in your life or any of that stuff, um, it's just not gonna be there. So before anyone else can see it, you got to see it for yourself. So it's a little bit later in the day, but also too, um, I usually am working and doing stuff until like pretty late, like well into the evening. So even since I've had my own business, I often stay up until midnight or 2 in the morning working on stuff. So I'm not always working on stuff at 2 in the morning. I try to be more reasonable and be in bed or be done with work by 10 and be in bed by midnight. But that doesn't always work out that way, right? So, okay, I am recording. So it's just past noon. But I was in bed though looking at different flea markets and different swap meets. So the only problem is when you Google flea and market, like on the maps, trying to look at different cities, you're going to get places that have both flea and market in there. So there's not a lot of places that have the word flea in them around here, but there are a lot of places that have market. And for some reason, Fred Meyer pulls up, maybe because it's called Fred Meyer Market or something like that. But anyways, I'm actually looking at expanding, doing my events. Um, but of course, there's always those upfront costs, and also too, frankly, doing it for the first time is always a little nerve-wracking. But I'm actually looking into doing a city called Albany. So if you're in Albany or in Eugene, that's where I'm going to be doing my pop-up stands. And eventually, where's my coffee? I'm going to be doing mobile, so that way I'll come to a flea market near you. But for now, I'm going to be in the Oregon area, partly because, it's an affordable area. I haven't spent no time in Oregon yet. And also, I've had the ability that um, I can make it happen. So there's that. I know y'all are thinking this is tea, but no, it's coffee. Coffee. So I might actually sell coffee one day or one time, but I really like selling the tea. Why I don't sell coffee, I don't know. Maybe because I haven't found a distribution for it yet. Maybe because you know, as far as like me too, I like drinking coffee with cream and sugar and all that other stuff. And it's just more so when you have tea, it's just tea straight. This is water, by the way. So yeah, being a multi-billionaire, you get up when you want, do what you want. Wrong. You get up when you want on days that you're not, having to commit to schedules that you make. But if you're going to be a billionaire or multi-billionaire or even a millionaire, you're going to have to put yourself on a schedule. Even if I do, roll out of the bed, sometimes later, like 10, 11, sometimes 12. Um, I still fit a full day schedule until like midnight. So you definitely got to be, you know, working on a schedule. And then also too, as I mentioned, um, I'm up at 5 in the morning, 5:30 when I'm doing my flea market events too. So it has burned me out a little bit. We're gonna do almost two. See, almost two sugars. So, but let me know too what you guys think, and what kind of schedule you guys are on too. I'm gonna add a little bit of cream to this. No, cocoa. Add a little bit of cocoa. So this is just a basic cocoa right here. But here we go. So don't get me wrong though, being a billionaire has its perks. Like, you have billionaire friends, and you can, like, not worry about rent or your bills and stuff. Well, some do, but those are just irresponsible ones. Or ones that are, doing something wacky. So I do make sure that cream's still good, right? I do move at a slow pace though. Some might even think I might be a part sloth, but even if I move slow, I still keep on going. So, and I have quite a bit of endurance for being as slow as I move. Oh, we got gardeners apparently out there. So, we're going to crush our bottles. As an entrepreneur, or self-made businessman, or businesswoman, you're going to have to, kind of think of creative ways, and your day to day is always going to be a little bit different too. Let's get them glasses on. All right, now we're official, right? Hi everybody. Now I can see me. I can see all of you too. Not really, but I can see me at least. And there's Deja down there. Say hi, Deja. Hi, Deja. Hi, Deja. Deja wants to be in on this too. She wants to say hello to everybody. And so she's my roommate, but for some reason I pay her rent too. Just kidding. She gets enough views that she's probably gonna be paying my rent. But as I was mentioning before, is that you gotta find creative ways to constantly. This is my tea from yesterday, or last night, late last night, so it's still good. Plus, I don't know, something about tea. It's like day old. Well, pizza has been in the fridge for a day. It's like tea's been sitting out for part of the day. Always tastes a little bit better. So I was actually looking to see if there's any events going on today, but because it's still technically winter, yeah, it's cold outside too. So it is winter. It's winter here for sure. Um, it's like 40 degrees outside in like late March. I know too a lot of places like that's like y'all are asking for that, but here it's cold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the inventory I got from what I sold at the farmer market I was at this last weekend, and I'm going to count and put in my new inventory on my website, adjust that, and adjust the inventory. No, I didn't put tea. You can't put tea on TikTok. You can, but you need like a special permission, and they haven't given to me yet. So I'm just have to adjust my website, and then I was having the darndest time getting my printer to work. I don't know if any of you out there get a hard time fixing your printer, but let me know too if you need help fixing your printer, because at this point I might be able to figure it out. But I'm telling you, that took way too much time out of my life. And too, you're saying, well, why is a billionaire taking time out of his life when he could pay people? Well, first, I just moved into town, so I haven't known people and then second, I'm using that currency put back into the business, right? So a lot of people don't know too. Elon. Oops. I know a lot of people aren't in favor of Elon, but that's none of my business. But Elon, though, he was for a while strapped for cash because he had money in his stock shares, but he didn't have actual cash. So getting cash to pay his rent, he'd actually have to borrow from friends or take out debts and then pay off out of his shareholds a little bit later. So that's perfectly fine to do, but it gets complicated very quickly, so I strongly don't recommend it. They also got these term life insurance too, policies where you can take money out while you're still alive. And too is it sounds great, like the Rockefellers do it, all these there's money to be made into it, but also too I think it's kind of a little ridiculous that people use insurance money to generate their a fabricated currency of their own money. And same too, that just gets complicated. And frankly, I don't know how much of that should be legal, because all it does is raise the rates for other people. And so, I mean, I don't know if it actually raises the rate, as in that's all it does, but it gets complicated fast. Basically, old-fashioned economics is the way to go, frankly. So, you grow your corn, you milk your cow, you save $5, and then, freaking you get your milk and you make your bread, and there you go. And you can trade it, or exchange it for the value of gold, how many hours of labor it takes to extract the ounce of gold per how many hours it takes to, make so many loaves of bread. And then you'll ask yourself, well, why is it that, with modern machinery, you can extract, a lot more gold? Well, yeah, but also with modern machinery, you can make a lot more loaves of bread at the same time, too. And that's generally how basic economics works. So, another fun fact. But, if we're not using those principles, then, it just, gets kind of muddy, let's put it that way. And so, Bitcoin, I don't see it going anywhere, but also too, I don't think that's going to be permanent. Maybe Bitcoin might be around because that's granddaddy, but as far as cryptocurrency, that might be around, sure. But I think too that it's really exploring the idea of blockchain, and I think blockchain is going to expand in a variety of different ways too. So back to my plan for the day, besides drinking coffee, right? As I mentioned to you, I'm going to be doing the inventory for the tea. I also have a whiteboard. I was checking to see about the events I did earlier. And I think I'm going to use today to tidy and organize, even though I do want to get outside for a little bit. And I want to check on some classes too, because I found an opportunity that I can actually get free classes within a career, and I'm gonna look into doing that too. And then also to do the more homework on doing the other flea market events that I haven't been to yet. So today's going to be a lot of strategizing, a lot of cleaning, and a lot of I guess self-love and all that stuff. Because like I said, if you don't think you're going to be a billionaire or a millionaire, no one's going to think you are. I got an app manager that says something's... Oh, I know why. All right. So sorry about that. My phone says it's almost out of memory, and the more I record, the more it's almost out of memory. So why I use my phone instead of a camera? Because as I said again, my resources in other areas. Although I'm very likely going to get a camera pretty soon.